as we're just now waiting for the drivers to get all their setups changed and ready, as we are going to just wait then. So 12 drivers, 13 now on the grid rather, as we did get a couple of late joiners in quali, but now, so I just check, I need on my phone I need the points up, but obviously here in SRS we have a different point scoring system to other teams and drivers. So our point scoring is 35 points for a win, 30 for second, 28 for third, 26, then 22nd, 22, 20, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Points all the way down to 15th. So all of these drivers have to just finish the race, stay on the grey stuff all the way through, and they will get points today. But the drivers that we know will be wanting and needing those points is Benji and Gert, and every point will count. 3 points difference before the race starts, but after quali it looks to me like Benji is going to have a lot of ground to make up and a lot of work to do. Traffic's going to be a huge issue for Benji, says Night Flash. Definitely, 100%, especially around here. There's not too many places to make the move. But it's going to be a case of, if you want to win the championship, Benj, you've got to send it, and you've got to prove why you want to be champion. You're going to definitely need a champion's drive, almost Seb Vettel-esque back in Brazil in 2012. So you're going to need something like that to pull that out of the hat, though, and to still win the championship against all odds tonight. This is going to be very, very exciting. Race pace is where Benji shines. Well, he's going to have a hell of a job on his hands. And we are going to go to then the 5 red lights then for the start of this Grand Prix. For the final time for Tier 2, we are underway in Season 3, as we're now all going to get back going towards Turn 1. Chasing down the way is Mapandra on the inside. Will we see any moves? There's a Williams on the inside of both Ferraris then, and Mapandro held out to dry once more as we look to see any battles going on towards the back of the pack. I think everyone's keeping it nice and in check. Mapandro chasing up towards the back of Naismith then through turns 4 and 5. They're all almost single file now, just chasing up towards the rear end of the car ahead. Maybe a potential look up the inside from Fake Scouser there, but nothing doing in that particular place on the racetrack, as we're all going to get going then. Once more, still chasing up towards Nay, who leads us away by 0.8 of a second now, already into Sector 2 rather. And now look at that, the gaps are forming, but it's crucially important to see Benji already up to P9. That's been a hell of a start for the man who needs every position and every point, and he's going for another one as he goes up the inside of turn 12. A very unorthodox place to make a move, but he's done it, and he's up to P8, and he's directly behind the championship rival today. This is great driving from Benj. As we see the 2 Williamses tonight, Mapandra and Scouser chasing each other down, and they're fighting hard. This could well let Faulkner and maybe even Idlenorth into the fray, as they're all going to go fighting now. Can they go 3 wide into turn 1? Surely not. Someone must yield, and it seems to me that the 2 behind now are those that had to take a step off the throttle, and Mapandro falling down to P4, fighting hard now still with the Mercedes. P4 for him. Scouser the big winner there. P2 for the Williams. This is all now letting Nay run away with it. 1.7 already. All of the drivers joking that this is what was going to happen, but it seems to have come into fruition early on. There's a yellow flag, and that's a Williams. Is that Mapandro off at the back? Yes, it is. The Belgian coming off at what is the exit of turn 5, the entry of turn 6. Very strange place. I'm not sure. There must have been contact with another driver, but he's not too far away from the back of the grid, so should be able to catch up sooner rather than later. But that, after what was a great quali, was far from ideal from him. So we are now watching where are the battles going on. Gertjan under pressure, but actually having a slight bit of that alleviated from CJ getting up and past Benj then. As we are going to look at the tyres that everyone's opted for, all but Gert on the soft tyres then, trying to get them out the way early like I said, Nay 126.1 already flying away 2 seconds up the road from P2. So it could well be a procession, lights the flag victory already settled for Nay. But, you know, that isn't where the fights are important today. The fight, obviously, 8th and 6th respectively for Benj and Gert. The way of the which the championship would be going right now, it would be going the way of Gert. As of the points that were scored tonight, let me just triple check that that is correct. I'm sure it is. But yeah, it would be going his way. He'd be scoring 20 points, whereas Benj would only be scoring 12. So really, really huge gap that is then. And the title would be won by 5, I'd like to say. So got to keep an eye on this all the way through the race. But that's something for me to focus on. Whilst the camera focuses on the battles, as they're all just now, they've got through that initial stage of the Grand Prix where they're just, you know, settling on. You want to be on the right piece of tarmac at the right time. You're fighting, getting your elbows out slightly, but you just want to settle into the race, and that is what all of the drivers are starting to do now, as there goes a braking board off of the Mercedes in front. CJ may be pushing slightly too hard to try and chase up to the back. Into the box then goes Scouse, getting those soft tyres off nice and early. Onto, I'm not sure what tyres he will go onto. Let's watch on board with the pit stop. Onto the mediums then for Scouse. Battle at the back then. Mapandro getting stuck back in after his earlier on spin. Or incident, I didn't actually see it. But as he flies now through turn 2, he's up to P11 after a couple of pit stops then. This is where it's huge though. 5th, 6th and 7th after pit stops. Still going the way of Gert though. It's going to be exciting all the way through. Don't think for a second that on lap 4 we are crowning a champion. It's going to be waiting until the final lap. That checkered flag coming out and both drivers finishing over the line. Until that moment, we are not going to know. So once again, they've made us wait, and it's going to keep continuing on in the same fashion till the end of tonight. Idanov chasing down Kieran in P2. All goes wide, does the Ferrari, following suit the Mercedes, but not to the same degree, as he's going to chase him down up towards turn 16. And Moody getting a 3-second time penalty. So too did Kieran in seconds. Scissor even chasing him now. DRS activated. Mercedes should beat Ferrari. Goes to the inside, does Idlenorth. And that's a fairly simple move. But is it? The Ferrari's still there on the exit, making contact through turn 1. Gets in it all sorts of crossed up on the exit. And that wasn't as easy a move as I thought. Really squeezed him on the entry, did the Mercedes, and that, I think, almost nearly meant they came to blows. Gert really getting up close and personal with the back of that McLaren in front. San 85, good end to his quali, but Gert is the man who in the race will be wanting to try and take it away. Those mediums will start to be cooking. And I'm sure that the driver at the hands of them will be wanting to do the same. Crucially, Benji's down to 11th. Oh, he has pitted. He's onto the mediums then, so off the softs. That is 2 compounds ticked off out of the 3 that must be used by every driver. So Benj going for the early strategy call. Obviously, Gert's got at some point put on the softs that Benji used earlier on. Banking on a late safety guard perhaps, where he'd want to use them. Either way, Gert on the mediums right now is looking very strong, chasing up towards the back of the pack. So we're trying to see, obviously, the thing with a load of different pit stops means there's going to be Benji's 3 points ahead, says James. Yeah, it is. We're going to be watching now on board with the Aston Martin being furiously chased down by Swinney behind. Into the box goes CJ, our first driver on the hard tyres then. So a bit slower than the others on the track. However, we'll be able to take those a lot longer into the race. And obviously will later on get that advantage with the pace. But that does promote Benj up to P10 on his quest to chase down the man who currently sits in P5, looking to try and actually make it P4 sooner rather than later as we go through Sector 2, gliding over every curb. Is Gert really looking even better than he did in qualifying, so you know, he can't complain too much. He is going from strength to strength so far. See, as it stands right now, it would easily be going the way of Gert. However, there's a lot longer in this race to go. 6 laps done out of 29 as we head towards the 7th. So into the box goes our leader, Naismith, into the pit lane. What tyres is he going to put on as everyone else seems to go fourth, apart from San actually, who goes into the box. I'm sure that he'll be putting on a fresh set of medium tyres. Yes, he will, but that does now promote Idlenorth up to P1 for the meantime. Gert P3, so, and he is already on the mediums, so we will be looking nice as it stands. Obviously going to take those mediums a lot longer into the Grand Prix. A lot longer than everyone else, that is. Yellow flag at the end of the pit lane. That is San85. Not sure what happened there. But either way, he's under pressure from Benj through turn 1. He slid his way round and he snaked his way through as he's up to P9 on lap 7. Wow, that was a very, very close but nice move made by the championship leader. But not for long. As it stands, it's not going to be a nice end to the season if Benji doesn't get his ideas bucked up sooner rather than later. As obviously lap 7, when you're the driver who's not got the advantage, the race goes down very quickly. But I'm sure for the man in P3 currently, Gert, the race laps will be ticking down slower than ever. So we watch on board with the man in P2 trying to chase down Idlenorth ahead. Both drivers coming into the box now, though, which is going to promote Gert, not just trying to take the championship lead, but he now will be in the race lead here in round 12. Now on those medium tyres, 7 lap old, obviously, from the start he used them. But that is not probably what Benji would have been wanting. Difference in strategy, probably expected, but the man being on in first, that probably wasn't on his bingo card tonight. Benji obviously going to be gaining a few positions here and there for those who are pitting. Lots of hard tyres now coming on. Me-Man Moody, San, TJ, Faulkner, all of them onto the hards for this middle stint, if you can even call it that with the new condition. But either way, the middle stint, hard tyres on, and Benji P7, but crucially comes out behind Scissor. I don't know if that's very deep through turn 7. That's not ideal in the slightest for the Mercedes. Going to be obviously those medium tyres probably not quite up to temperature, which is why he went so deep into that corner, but caught it up nicely in the end. And is going to be looking to get things cooking soon. 14 seconds is the gap to Jay in front, who's P2 at the minute, still on those softs. The only driver who started on them to be on them still, and into the box he goes now to promote Nay back up to P2. Scouse actually has done quite a good job. I know he's on a different strategy, but he's actually sticking with the Ferrari quite nicely for now. Which if he can do that and get the DRS activated and, you know, drag himself along a bit, and he's going to be in a nice good position compared to those who were around him before the pit stop. So, you know, Scouse could well have played a masterclass. I don't want to say it, but I wouldn't mind jinxing it. So if it does go wrong for Scouse, then I can be very, very pleased. But either way, Nivi and Swinney, that's a mouthful, but both Haskars for tonight, 10th and 11th, will be wanting to try and get a couple more positions from the likes of Mapandro and San. But obviously, you can't tell really who's net P1, P2, P3. The only constant today is that Nay is probably going to win, so he's net P1. But every other position, it's just so hard to try and tell. I think when it comes to that final round of pit stops. Probably around the lap 20 mark, depending on the tyres, I don't know. But as we get to that last round of pit stops, that is when we will know who is where. Into the pits then, onto the hard tyres. Yes, he is. So he'll take those long, and we'll be waiting for that final stint on the soft. So probably banking on that late safety car, but it would need to come out very late if he wants to use those softs and gain an advantage. So oh, and wow, Benji then P5, Gert P7, and fighting now with CJ. There was contact between the pair. That's not what Gert wants at all. He really will want to stay out of trouble, keep his nose clean and intact, because any sort of injury like that, and he will be he'll lose any advantage he gained, and could well put himself out of contention if he's not lucky. So, you know, backing off slightly from the Mercedes, but yeah, deja vu. We've got the Saubers either side of a Merc, that Merc being CJ, but this time the roles are reversed. Benji now leads us. Obviously, this would be extending his current championship lead, and would be unsurmountable. Obviously, no rounds after tonight here in Tier 2, so Benji right now is our champion-elect, but still, both drivers have to put on another set of tyres, and the difference is huge. Benji yet to put on the I was about to have say in the title. Oh dear. But either way, Benji will be wanting to get this race cooking now on his terms rather than Gert. But CJ behind is going to try and put a spanner in the works once more. DRS activated, chasing his way up towards the front, and he's round the outside of turn 1. It's going to be a straight out fight between him and Benj, getting a wheel locked on each other. He's almost barged his way past, has CJ, but Benji not going to have that in the slightest. Going to try and chase him down towards turn 4. But this, now the Mercedes has gone through, this is really exciting stuff. We're going to see a straight out fight between the two championship title fighters. Gert versus Benj. Gert went slightly wide there because of the dirty air through sector 2, but those hard tyres, if he can keep in the fight, keep in the fray, then come to that final stint, he's going to be licking his lips and loving life as he's going to be flying through that stint. But Gert, obviously P7, Benji just up the road. He needs to get back past that Mercedes. He can't allow him to run away. It is getting spicy, says Night Flash in the chat. Very spicy indeed. But 6th and 7th is where those two preside. Nay, 1.7 ahead then. And that's actually on track. Idlenorth also on the mediums. Only a lap apart, so actually has the clear, fresher tyres does Idle. He has got a penalty, but 1.5 is the gap now, so it's coming down at the front. So a battle at the front could well be coming sooner rather than later. So a battle for the lead and a battle for the championship. What more could you want under the lights in Qatar? But look at that, the difference in tyre life. 7 laps versus 2 laps around here is huge. And crucially, hard tyres versus mediums. You'd still be expecting Benj to have the advantage in terms of flat out pace, but the way Gert's driving tonight, he's a man possessed. It doesn't matter what tyres the championship, his championship protagonist is also using. It don't matter to him. He wants to just use his race, run his race, sort it out, and come across the line the champion of Season 3 Tier 2. So he's definitely going about it the right way, and look at that. Benj, slight lock up there, goes across the track. He's defending already, so under threat and some is Benj now through turns 12, 13 and then 14. They're coming up thick and fast as we're already on lap 12 of 29 as he goes through the left-hander. Benji under a huge amount of pressure, and we could well see a change between the pair of them now. On track, a flat-out fight. Just what we've been waiting for here in round 12. DRS activated now. ERS burning to the inside or the outside. He goes to the inside, squeezed by Benj, but it doesn't matter. He's up and through, and before the braking zone of turn 1, Gertjan has absolutely flown past Benji, and that could well be huge for the championship. So obviously still being on opposite strategies. Benji yet to use those hard tyres. Gert yet to use the soft. So in terms of that way of thinking, it's going to be definitely Gertjan who is going to be taking the title. But, you know, plenty of drama left. Plenty of twists and turns in the tail. I'm sure as we head on to lap, obviously halfway through lap 13 now, out of 29, so not too much longer left to go. Only now about 16 and a half laps left, so nearly heading up towards the halfway point of the race. So yeah, still lots of things that could happen, and usually if they can happen, they do here in SRS. So plenty of time for Benji to turn the tide, but right now it looks like he's actually going to have to focus on defending rather than attacking. The San 85 behind him, nipping at his heels, sniffing his rear diffuser, and it's not going to be long as we see Scouse come into the pits, sadly not to retire, but to go on to another set of tyres. To the outside goes the McLaren for tonight. And once again, it's deja vu for Benj. Before the braking zone of 1, he's now lost another position. So all falling apart for our championship leader at the minute. Mapandro looking to pile on the misery once more and relegate him down to 8th. Scouse onto the hard tyres. I'm saying that Scouse has used all 3. Yes, he has. So too has Nivi. Only drivers to do that, though. And both going to go from the hard tyres now till the end of the Grand Prix. So they don't have to worry about tyres now. They can simply, you know, steer the car, use the pedals, and get to the end of the Grand Prix without any, you know, sort of pressure in terms of, you know, trying to outplay the strategy of the other drivers. They can just, you know, focus on themselves and see where they end up on lap 29. So them two at the back having their own sort of race, but now we look towards the mid-pack and also actually towards the front of the field as the gap, every time I look at it, getting smaller and smaller. Idle North versus Naismith. He's within the DRS now, crucially wasn't at the detection point, but if Idle can keep this pressure on, Naismith we could be seeing under pressure and maybe even losing his lead. See through sector 1, snaking their way through. 0.5 of a second is the gap now. Benji back into the pits. So onto the hard tyres. That's his last stop then for the championship leader. He's had to pull the trigger early. I mean, if there's a late safety car now, he can go onto a fresh set of softs or mediums, depending on when, and still make it to the end. But at the end of the day, still looking very positive in the camp of Gertjan, who currently is actually looking to try now and chase down CJ ahead of him. If he can get every single position to make it count, then he really does, you know, utilise that advantage and put so much more pressure on his championship rival. There's another 3-second time penalty for Idle North then. So, whilst he's been pushing to try and chase up towards the man in first, he isn't going to get the opportunity and the pleasure of overtaking him on track, as into the pits goes Nay. Onto hard tyres now to the end, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it will be for the Ferrari then. So, a flat-out drive to the finish for a lot of these drivers who are all booting on the hard tyres later. They've done it in order. The 3 compounds, soft, mediums to hard. So, yeah, lots of drivers opting for the same strategy there. Mapandro will be following suit soon, I think. But yeah, the two, probably not even, no, it's just Gert who's on that opposite strategy completely, on the hard tyres now. will have those soft tyres to utilise later. Still, lots of drivers not actually stopping yet. A lot of them will go on to the mediums to the end, which will be exciting. And now, as they go through turn 7, sorry, it's going to be a fight for P3 on track between the pair of them. CJ Drama and Gertjan fighting each other to the brink. Obviously not both of these drivers not in the championship battle. One of them is, but that's not going to affect CJ whatsoever. He's not going to move out the way for him. He's going to make it absolutely as hard as he can. He wants those points, you know. Everyone's fighting for pride still coming up to this last round. Everyone wants to finish as high as they can, and to do that you've got to finish the race in as good a position as possible. So still everyone fighting their way to the end then. Into the box goes Idlenorth for what will be his last stop of the race as well. And to the inside he goes, Gertjan. That was very, very opportunistic, and luckily backed out of it. I think just showing his nose, but yeah, if he got any sort of braking held up there whatsoever, that could have been the end of both his and CJ's race. You wouldn't think this is a man fighting for the championship, who can't currently afford to take any risks in the slightest, because he is throwing his car into every possible opening that he can find on this racetrack. And that is exactly the way I'd like to win a championship. No, you know, if I could not have to stress about it, I'd love to be able to try and fight my way through and overtake anyone and everyone that stands in my way. But that's certainly what this man's doing. And as we turn our attention then, Benji down in a lowly P11 at the minute. Obviously not everyone stopped for that second time rather. 5 seconds behind Moody though. So it's a long way away. He's not going to get any sort of DRS or slipstream. So he's going to have to make it out on his own and see what he can do then to the end of this race. We are currently getting close then as they go through turn 16. This could well be. He's a lot closer than last time. DRS going to be activated now as he crosses the line to start lap 18 to the inside of the outside. He chooses the inside of turn 1. He dives it up the inside. No fight back from CJ. And he's up and through onto the front row. P2 for Gertjan. Only scissor in front. 5.4 seconds the gap. Won't battle him on track just yet. But obviously the Ferrari driver needs to... Does he have to pit again? Yeah, he does. He has to go onto the mediums to the end at some point. So Gert will take back that lead. Obviously still Naismith and Idlenorth. Actually, Idlenorth has got him. So obviously that overcut worked from the Mercedes tonight. And he's pipped Naismith then on track. So that is net P1 for Idlenorth. But those 6 seconds of penalties is not going to be anything. He's not going to get P1 at that rate. I'm not sure any of those would get removed either, due to them being track limits, which are usually done well by the game. So he's not put himself in the best situation. He's got 1 second of gap. He needs to find another 6 to win the Grand Prix. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for him. But as we see Faulkner into the box now, that is going to promote Gertjan. P2 in the championship at the minute. Well, P1 at the minute. And P1 on track as well. CJ just trying to create something there. No opportunity for a move. Just going to have to try and find something at some place. Some bit of mistake or error for him to capitalise on. But none being shown as it stands. Fake Scouser down in 8th place. Going to come up towards Faulkner at a rate of knots through turn 1. But stays in 8th currently. Benji P10 getting that gap down to Miman Moody by 2.6 seconds there now. He's not a million miles away. A couple of pit stops. Well, a lot of pit stops have happened. So the way I see it, Benji, he's in a difficult spot now. I thought at times he's shown decent pace, but Qatar, it hasn't been kind to him today. That qualifying was crucially what undid him, or at least what seems to have undone him so far. just gave himself a hell of a job to do. And to be fair, first couple of laps, first lap in especially, he went from 12th on the grid up to P9 by the sector 2. So he's done himself a very good service. You know, he's not put a bad name on him through this lap race whatsoever. But either way, it's not looking ideal for him today. Let's say that. San and CJ fighting in the box now. Who's going to come out quicker? It's going to be CJ. But onto the mediums for both drivers then to the end of the race. Same for Faulkner. And they're going to be quite fast towards the end of this Grand Prix. Obviously a lot of them on hards and also now older hard tyres as well. Which is going to make them sit in ducks at times for those on the fresher mediums. And also the likes of Gert, who will be coming on to the set of soft tyres to the end. Moody joins him on that same strategy. And it's going to have a chase now to the final lap of the race. Benji up to P7 on those hard tyres. Under pressure from CJ though, once more. He's trying everything he can to try and get past Benj. Slight lock up there once more. Benji really struggling through that corner of turn 11. Looking up every single time. So, yeah, it's really difficult for him. That corner, at least at the minute. That wasn't even that corner. It's turn 6. I'm getting so confused. But either way, he's struggling to get all 4 tyres through without locking up. So that is going to be giving CJ a lot of hope that he can get back past and through. Naismith P4 chasing down Idleworth. But Idleworth now up and through and past, crucially, on Jay Hartnell, who is kind of just, you know, being present between them. He isn't fighting them in terms of the actual long-term race, but, you know, he's not going to make it easy for him. He wants to have a battle with the leaders, and, you know, hats off to him. Who wouldn't? It makes it more exciting for us. I mean, it isn't a back marker as such. I mean, he isn't getting laps, but obviously being not towards the front of the field in terms of the actual race pace today, it does just create that slight bit of doubt, which I'm sure Nay will be starting to enter his mind. What if, you know, if he just jumps out the way at the wrong moment, or if he holds me up for too much longer, what if I go into the back of him? Something like that can freakishly happen, and that could be the difference between winning and going into the pits with a broken front wing. So it's lots of what if scenarios, but the scenario at the minute, I would not have thought before this Grand Prix that this is where we'd be sitting. And Gert's so dominant at the minute, obviously has to pit once more, but Benj down in P8, you know, he's falling backwards through the field now. Mapandro, the next victim, well no, the next predator, if you like, in terms of Benji as the prey, as he's chasing him down for P8 then. So Benj, I think he can just feel the championship start to slip away from him with every overtake that's made. That must be infuriating for the man driving the Sauber. And to the inside goes Mapandro. He's chucked it up and through. That's a fairly simple do for the man at the hands of that Williams tonight. Yeah, fairly simple overtake. And another one that Benji will be left wanting with. Naismith, P3. 1.7 the gap to the man who took his net P1 away from him. But obviously those 6 seconds of penalty is going to be the saving grace for Nay, who's going to be our actual leader. Gertjan, 12-lap old hard tyres on for his car. Is he going to pit soon? Obviously, right now on lap 22, we haven't got all too long left. He will cross the line. We'll only have 7 laps left of the Grand Prix. When will he come into the box? I think he's definitely going to stay out for 1 lap. But is he going to stay out for another after that? As Scouts gets himself onto the 3-second penalty gang down in P5. But yeah, how much longer is Gert going to take these tyres? I don't think Me Man Moody's struggling yet on those softs, so He knows that he can do a couple of laps at least at decent pace. And if he can keep those tyres ahead of, intact, Gert, then he'll be able to pit in soon. He just wants to avoid puncture territory, and those soft tyres could be an absolute blighter for them in terms of they can really degrade quicker on you, especially around here with all the high speed corners towards sector 3. And you know, if you've pitted then, especially in a race like this where you have to pit twice minimum, yeah, if you leave yourself in puncture territory there, that's risking it for no real reason. Benji gonna have to try and give chase to Mapandro ahead. It's not going right in any sense of the word for, well, apart from the fact he did just turn right, but it's not going right in any other way for our champ leader for today. That's a 3-second time penalty as well, just to add to his affairs, and that's just not going well for him in the slightest. Mapandro overtaking him last, P7, and into the box goes Gertjan then, so he is going to concede the lead to Idle North and Ney, but whereabouts is he going to come out? Obviously onto those red soft tyres, wants to try and take the fastest lap, I'm sure, by the end of this race as well. Where's he going to come out in terms of Benj? Benji's round the final corner, so this is closer than I thought. And as we wait to see, they're right behind each other. The two championship rivals are right in front and behind of each other, although, annoyingly for Benj, you would have wanted to be ahead of him, as those soft tyres will get up to temperature like nothing else you've ever seen, and he will just be flying into the distance unless he can be held up and done a favour by Mapandro for Benji. But that is not looking good whatsoever, as said by James in the chat there. Benji's not looking good at all. He's not far off him though. It's not a case of you know, it's not like he's dominating him too much. But oh my word, this would actually be 3 points would be given. So they'd finish right now, if it finishes now. So no more races, no more laps rather. We would be equal on points by the end of the race. So if it finished like this, then Gert would win on countback, obviously being the man that won five or 6 races this season. Let me check that once more. Yeah, he's won 5 races this season, has Gert. So he would definitely win on countback, considering Benj has only the 1. But right now it doesn't matter, as the Belgian driver of Mapandro has just lost out to our potential champion-elect, who's up to P6. He must have heard me talking about the gap. He doesn't want to finish equal on points. He doesn't want to win on countback. He wants to win on merit and on points, and that is precisely what he's doing right now. This would give him 20 points scored tonight compared to Benji's 12, which is going to make him be 3 points ahead of the other driver instead of the 3 points behind he came into this round with. So really, really good there for Gert. He's only now a second behind CJ in 5th, so if he wants to try and extend his advantage and, you know, make himself look even more dominant, then yeah, that's what we want to see. .3 is the gap at the front. Obviously, with penalties being the way they are, Ney's going to win this. I mean, Faulkner behind's got 24 seconds of penalties, so he's not going to be able to challenge Ney. 6 seconds ahead as well for 6 seconds of penalties rather for Idle North ahead. There's the extra point for the fastest lap from Gert. So right now he's earning 21, but he wants to be earning more as he goes to the outside of turn 1. Those soft tyres absolutely flying for Gert, and he's made the move stick before turn 2, up to P5 with the fastest lap. He's absolutely flying now in this session. 23 points will be scored, and it looks to me like all the boxes have been checked He looks to be going towards a Season 3 championship here in Tier 2. Benji can do nothing else but just hope and pray that something goes wrong for the man he's fighting, because right now on his own steam he's not going to be winning the championship, as he's fallen down to P9, then San85 the next in line to take him, and has taken him rather, Jay Hartnell next in line. So yeah, Benji, it's not looking good at all. Surely Faulkner is approaching the DSQ. You'd imagine so with 24 seconds of penalties. And there he goes. He's been disqualified. And Scouser up to P3, but with those penalties that he's gathered up, Gertjan is going to finish on the podium. 1.2 seconds is the gap at the minute. Obviously, he's going to be looking good to chase down and get the move done on track. But yeah, right now, Gertjan is on the podium, so he's shown it completely today that we know why. Obviously, him winning all those other races this season is a lot closer this season because he's not raced every race. He missed 2 races earlier on. But showing us today, if he can grab a podium out of this, he's really taken the bull by the horns, and this will be him, you know, deservedly champion of Tier 2. Benji back up to P8 then, so trying his absolute hardest to try and obviously keep any sort, holding on to any sort of, you know, chance or hope of the title. Doing all he can, but Gertjan especially doing all he can as well, because it's looking like he is going to be our new champion today. 27 laps so far completed, on to 28 then. So we have 2 remaining laps in this season for Tier 2. Naismith within a second now with Idlenorth, so there's going to be a battle on track for the win. We're not going to see a championship battle on track for much more than the laps we had earlier. And here we are though, seeing one driver who's fighting for the championship. Can he make a move on Scouse? Yes, he can. Diving up the inside. That was late and ballsy. But he doesn't mind whatsoever as he's round the outside of 2. Trying to keep his nose, and he does. Scouse gives him room. This is great battling between the pair of them, and he's up and through. Not just because of penalties. He's on the podium because of merit and on track, crucially. What a move. Great battle between the pair of them. And that is Gertjan up to P3. Naismith, I know what he's like. He will be knowing that he's going to get the win comfortably as well with those penalties behind. But he'll want to win it on track. And you can see on the inside front of every corner, the tyres at the front of this Ferrari are absolutely screaming out in pain now. Those hard tyres really wearing away. But look at how close he is. 0.4 of a second behind Isnay. Going to have to get that DRS activated on this next straight. This is where the move's going to be made, if at all. DRS activated, ERS burning for both. Is the move going to be made this lap, or at all? The answer, at least for the most part now, is no. We will stay on board and watch it, as that is the closest battle on track. But yeah, tonight it's Ferrari versus Mercedes. This season it's been Low Wings versus Low Wings. They're both teammates in terms of Tier 2, so you know, hopefully no love lost between the pair of them. That was a mistake from Idlenorth through turn 6 there. And into 7, the Ferrari tonight getting so close up behind him. He'll be wanting to make a move, but I think Idle's done just enough to keep it on track, ahead of him at least. Nivi losing out to Me-Man Moody at the back there, as they're fighting hard at the back of the field. Through turn 12, no move there whatsoever from Nay. And he seemingly has lost his opportunity now to win it on track, but he won't care in the slightest, as he now, after the one last final corner, rounds that corner to not win on track, but he's going to chase down Idlenorth regardless, weaving away to finish Season 3, and he comes across the line to win. But it's the man behind who we see now coming around turn 16 for the final time tonight, and for the final time this season. He crosses the line, and he's the champion of Tier 2 here in Season 3 of SRS. Hats off to you, Gert-Jan. Absolutely superb racing all the way through, and he takes the checkered flag, a champion. Mapandro P4, Scouse P5, CJ P6, Benji, after such a long season of trying it all out, didn't win as much as Gert in front, but he absolutely stayed in consistently. He dug in all races, and he dug in tonight. I mean, he had a poor quali. There wasn't much he could do to chase him down, but he can be proud of the season he's had. And who knows, there may well be again next season an opportunity. So, great driving. Thank you very much, Night Flash. Do appreciate it. It was very good driving all season. I didn't get to see much of Tier 2, but I did follow the standings all the way through, and I was excited about how close it was. I was kind of hoping I'd get asked onto comms. I wanted to get a very close decider. And yeah, once more, SRS doing a superb job of giving us some good good racing action all the way through. Season 3's done for Tier 2 at least. One last round next Sunday at 8. Same time, same track, different drivers. We got the same exact race, but it's Tier 1, and I will be there once more for you all to watch. So please join me back here once more. Driver of the day today was CJ Drama. Can't really argue with that. I don't think I can. Let me have a think. Who else had a good showing? Yeah, CJ Drama. He just made his way up through the field, didn't he? So I'm going to give him my driver of the day once more as well. But yeah, for pretty much everything's been said that needs to be. I mean, hats off to Gert. Great driving and a championship win. So superb. Well done. Congrats. But as I said, I will be back next week for the final round of Tier 1 for Season 3. So I will see you all there. Bye-bye.